Good evening. My name is Alex Kim, and I'm currently an 8th grader attending Seoul International School. In 2021, I moved from the United States to Korea during my 4th grade year after having lived in the United States for my entire life. For most of my childhood, the most significant recreational activity that I participated in was basketball. The sound of the ball going through the net, the squeaky of shoes, and the fast-paced nature of the sport made it almost like an addiction for me. For me, basketball had been a long-standing passion that had been cultivated throughout my years in the US, so naturally, I want to continue pursuing it in Korea. But when I did, I found it difficult to adjust. I was constantly moving from team to team, trying to find the right fit. For some reason, whenever I would join a new team, I was met with a sense of isolation. Most of the teams that I joined were reluctant to accommodate me into their playing system because of my different playing style. But throughout my experiences, I started to realize that a lot of my teammates and coaches were quite similar, not necessarily in appearance or personality, but in other areas that were harder to pinpoint at that time. And I believe that this started to play a role in my discomfort with my teams. If I could take you through a typical practice in Korea, practices in Korea were filled with endless running, defensive slides, and worst, coaches yelling. There was so much running that I even joked with one of my teammates that it wasn't basketball, it was cross country. Of course, while conditioning is vital for you and did help us in terms of endurance and fitness, every single team that I would go to in Korea seemed to focus on the same repetitive conditioning drills with little variation. But the coaches were just doing what they thought was necessary for us to improve in the most efficient manner possible, and most importantly, for us to win. In this case, the coaches thought that it'd be best for us to try to outrun the other team and get as many layups as possible, rather than spend time developing players skill-wise and winning games through skill. But although we were winning a lot through this method, after months and months of the same types of practices, we weren't developing important parts of our basketball. Not only did I think this hindered my own development, but practices eventually became mundane, boring, and disengaging. The coaches always gave us the same reasoning behind this. This is what the elite players in Korea do, and this is what made me, the coach, successful. Many of the top basketball programs in Korea have coaches who have been through the highest levels of Korean basketball, often culminating at the top Korean basketball universities or even at the pro level. These coaches went through similar systems to each other that all emphasize conditioning on an extreme level. I feel that this cultural aspect was a result of a lack of diversity because these coaches had only learned from one system, not many. Then, what about my team practices in the US? Practices in the US would combine conditioning, which again is crucial, with a mix of other drills that targeted various aspects of the game. Since the US is a naturally very diverse place, all the coaches were different from each other and had learned from their own distinct system. What this created was a basketball environment that focused on various aspects of the game, with each coach emphasizing different things and allowing these different teachings to intersect. This was also a natural development for the coaches, since they need to accommodate to such a diverse group of kids on our team. Our team was composed of people from different ethnicities. Some of us were Latino, African American, Southeast Asian, and even Middle Eastern. We were of different socioeconomic backgrounds, and we had different basketball goals in mind. Honestly though, even doing similar drills, but from a different perspective and in a more diverse setting, can produce better results. On my last team in Korea, which I often refer to as cross country, a type of running drill called a suicide became a staple in our training. This drill was done by sprinting to the free throw line, then back, then to the half court line and back, then to the other free throw line and back, and finally to the full court line and back. This drill was great for conditioning because it imitated the directional changes that we often face during games. However, although this drill was great for us, our coach had a tendency to push this drill to the extreme, oftentimes making our entire team run again if somebody didn't make it on time, or making our team run for the entirety of practice if he wasn't happy with us. This was in addition to our normal running regime. Over Over time, though, it became clear that my teammates and I were losing motivation during running. Knowing that there was no real endpoint in sight made it very difficult to fully invest in the drill, and our efforts began to decrease, which only worsened the situation. Not only that, but we started to develop resentment towards any of our teammates who were not satisfied with the coach. When I went back to the US last summer, during June, I rejoined my former US basketball team just for the summer. During my first basketball practice with this team, our coach made us run the same exact running drill that I often had to run in Korea. Naturally, I expected that the players who had failed to run the drill would have to continue running, while those who succeeded would get a break or not have to do the run. That was a typical reward system present on my Korean teams. However, that was not exactly the case. Our coach had the players who worked hard and were able to complete the drill continue running, and he had the players who essentially failed or didn't work hard enough and couldn't complete the drill to sit on the sideline. At first, I was confused. Shouldn't the players who have worked hard get the break? But then my coach explained, the ones who are hungry enough to win, therefore the ones who completed the drill and worked hard were the ones who deserved to stay on the court and essentially continue their reps. The others didn't want as much, so they didn't need it. Over time, I saw how this mindset transformed our entire team. Nobody wanted to be left out, so everybody pushed extra hard to stay on the court. Our coach grew up in Long Beach during the 90s, a place formerly known for its struggles of crime and poverty. Although he never explicitly shared his background, it was clear he had to face tough challenges and work extremely hard in order to get to where he was right now. He understood that some of us were using basketball as a pathway to a better life. Because of his past experiences, he knew that life would not be easy for us, and that if we want to succeed, we would have to work extremely hard. He was trying to install this through this drill, through basketball. If you're one of those kids who was told to sit out during the drill, it was extremely embarrassing. But nobody on our team wanted to be embarrassed. While our diversity and differences did sometimes lead to tension and competition, that very competition sparked motivation. During the running drill, that shared sense of potential embarrassment drove everybody to give it their all. Nobody wanted to be the kid sitting out on the sideline. Not only that, but we started to notice that some of our teammates, especially those who were striving to use basketball as a pathway to a better life, were giving even more than everybody else. Their determination inspired us all, creating a cycle of support and improvement. Essentially, the coach created a system that allowed everybody to give it their all. His past experiences and determination in the diverse individuals on our team played a crucial role in that. If I sum this up, the coach created a system that allowed everybody to work hard. This was influenced by his past experiences, his upbringing, the individuals on our team who were using basketball as a pathway to a better life, their work ethic, and that one common trait we all shared: accountability in the face of those different from us. All of this diversity intersected together to create this one basketball system that was beneficial for everybody and helped everybody improve. Instead of resentment towards certain teammates, what developed was a sense of trust amongst those who we knew were committed. I believe that my experiences also translate outside of the basketball court too. Even in academic or work settings, uniformity often leads to environments that are less open to new ideas and less innovative. Even today, when I watch my former Korean team play, they're still doing the same things they've been doing for the past couple years and haven't developed much. However, whenever I go back to the US, all my teammates shock me because they've improved so much. This is because of the fact that they've been exposed to new ideas, skills, and mindsets. So, with this in mind, I would like to ask you, the audience, what does your team look in life? Whether it's sports, work, or any other aspect, we all have different teams in life that shape our identity and who we are. Who is on your team, and how has the diversity amongst its members affected it? What I've learned through my multicultural experiences extends further than the game. For me, diversity has been one of the defining factors behind my own improvement in basketball. When I was exposed to an environment that lacked a bit in diversity, only certain areas of me would grow. When people from differing backgrounds, mindsets, and experiences come together, all their characteristics intersect to create something that improves everybody and is beneficial. In my case, when I was on diverse teams, like my team in the US, it was filled with people that challenged and inspired me because of the fact that they were different. When I was faced with similarity, I did sometimes get a sense of comfort during certain situations, knowing that they'd be more understanding. But I didn't grow at the same rate. So when we look back at our own teams in life, I would like to remind you that similarity may feel more comfortable at times, but difference or diversity is what truly helps us grow. Thank you.